Hello again, everybody. Zack Attack is here with my WWE Monday Night Raw Country Edition review for the night Monday, November the 18th, 2013. The last one before Survivor Series in Raw from Nashville, the home of the Grand Ole Opry. Yeah! Alright, as you see by this review, very chaotic Raw to go home before Survivor Series. We got a new champion. We got a heel turn. And we got a return. And find a fucking traditional Survivor Series matches added. Finally. Not bad. 6 days before the pay-per-view. Finally. We got 2 of them added. So there you go. Minimum of 2, so we got them made. Better late than ever, but still. Alright. Let's kick off on tonight with the return of the Authority. Authority was on vacation last week, storyline-wise. So Triple H and Stephanie were very happy to be back. Happy to be back after a week off. But disappointed, by the way, Wall ran off last week without no clear man in charge or woman in charge. Vicky Guerrero, Pat Maddox trying to take control. Kane was not to blame. Mostly it was Vicky and Maddox. Especially Maddox putting Randy Orton in a handicap match. Actually, Vicky Guerrero made that match. Handicap match. Randy Orton against Cody Rhodes and Goldust, which led to Big Show choke slamming Orton through the table. Orton came out with Triple H and Stephanie's speech, bitching about chaos erupted without the Authority there to take full charge. And Orton was like, without you on Raw last week, I blame you guys for what happened to me last week. And he choke slammed at Big Show, blah, 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 blah. And is it just me as Triple H trying to turn face? Because he's like really against Orton now. You know, that he's the face, and Triple H got into Orton's, literally got into the face of the WWE. Orton, you know, Stephanie's like, you're the face of our company. You know what I mean? And Orton's like, I deserve more respect. You know, I'm your biggest asset. You should have protected me last week. Where was the Shield? Where was anybody to back me up? And then here comes Brad Maddox, Vicky Guerrero, both came out and tried to come out to apologize, but then Maddox basically dumped the load on Vicky Guerrero. You know, saying it was all Vicky's fault, but Triple H is like, listen up, Maddox and Vicky. It didn't matter whose fault it was. Raw was still chaotic last week, and punishment will be dealt with. So, Vicky, you have a match later on this evening against AJ, a woman who's been wanting to beat you up for at least a year. But right now, Maddox, you get your suit on. We don't care. You're going to fight in your suit in a no DQ match against Randy Orton. That was all the way to kick off Raw. Orton against Maddox was like a whipping boy for Orton. But Maddox did try to get some hits in. You know, he used the mic, which would, unfortunately for him, come back to bite him in the ass later on in the match, as Brad Maddox used the microphone to take advantage and almost got a surprise win, nailing Orton against the ring post following the mic attack, pulling Orton back in the ring. He was trying to get the pin following that sneak attack with the mic and the post, but then, of course, being Orton, the sneaky sly viper that he is, the Apex Predator, whatever his nickname is this week, Legend Killer, Randy Orton did what he did best. Slither. Wait for the opportunity and ate its prey with the DDT, Hangman DDT on the barricade, which basically sealed the coffin, put the nail in the coffin for Brad Maddox. Even trying to, maybe almost teasing an RKO through a table. Too bad it never happened, despite the decent crowd in Nashville saying, we want tables. Following that, like I said, following that DDT on the barricade, that was the nail in Brad Maddox's coffin as Orton put him back to the ring. And the mic that Brad Maddox used to get the almost win, like I said, bit him in the ass as Orton just pounded the mic into Brad Maddox's head like 20 times. You can hear the boom, tech 1, 2, boom, boom. You know, basically knocking Brad Maddox out. Match was called because Brad Maddox was knocked out from the mic hits and the ring post, and also, like I said, the RKO. I mean, not the RKO, but the DDT on the barricade. So Brad Maddox was carried out. Orton was indeed fired up after whatever happened to him at Big Show last week. He basically let out all his frustration and all his anger onto Brad Maddox. As we would see later on in the evening, Big Show would send a message of his own to Randy Orton, preparing for their match this Sunday at Survivor Series. Now, our next matchup for the Intercontinental Championship Curtis Axel officially disassociated himself with Paul Heyman, taking on Big E Langston. Now, Big E Langston, I said this about the last couple weeks, since Big E Langston turned face, I think the fans have come around. I think the fans have really gotten into him, and he's had some great performances in the last couple weeks. He looked very good against Randy Orton a few weeks ago. Fans voted him. I think the fans voting Big E, whether it's rigged or not, I think it gave the fans confidence about Big E as a face. And he looked good against Del Rio last week, but this week it was Big E's big opportunity to go for singles gold tonight. And Big E looked very good in the beginning of the matchup, using his power to his advantage on Mr. Axel. But of course, Axel trying to prove that he could win without the knowledge and the guidance of the porous Paul Heyman. Axel did his best to get back in the game with some nasty hits and really doing his all smart moves with some big drop kicks and some big elbows. But indeed, as Axel's applying a face lock, Langston trying for a big clothesline and even nailing a big belly-to-belly slam. And he did try the big ending once. But then Kenneth Axel went for his hanging neck breaker, trying to hit it, but then Langston blocked it, shoved him, pulled down the straps through various man tits, and he did the second attempt at the big ending, which connected in the 1, 2, 3 victory with a new Intercontinental Champion, Big E Langston. Now what's kind of odd is last week, Big E Langston's former buddy, Dolph Ziggler, took on Curtis Axel for the Intercontinental Championship and lost. This week, Big E Langston wins it. So, and it was like Big E Langston first came in as Dolph's big man buddy. Everyone compared him to Ahmed Johnson. Well, those comparisons can continue because Ahmed Johnson was the Intercontinental Champion, and now Curtis Axel losing to Big E Langston. Big E Langston's now IC Champion. And like I said, I think WWE's got confidence in him now as a face. You know what I mean? I think they're getting a big push. I think he's looking very good as a face. The fans are starting to like him. You know, he's starting to be popular with the fans. So, you know, I think when he first came in, people didn't think he was going to be a star. He was just some big guy who just tossed people around. He was going to go nowhere, but look what happened. You know, he turned face, and I think he's become a decent face, and the fans are starting to like him. And that's why I think they got the confidence to put him in the WWC Championship. I hope he does well. I hope he has a decent, lengthy reign as champion. With, of course, Axel being IC Champion for about 5 months. Almost, at least 5 months, since Father's Day of June. Winning it at Payback. So, there you go. Congrats to Big E Langston, new IC Champion. Although I think Dolph Ziggler should have got the title. But hey, they want to push Big E and wish him luck as the title holder. Now, on with a segment which I think stood the pot and at least teased the first Survivor Series match. I think everyone should have known the Divas were going to get a match in Survivor Series, which they all. And it stemmed from this silly little stupid musical chairs segment. It was kind of pointless. The only point it was he at least make an excuse to make a Survivor Series match out of it. You know, we had all the women out there. They're playing Full Georgia Line, the remix to Cruise with Nelly, because Full Georgia Line did perform later on in the evening. I'll give you my comments on that. Natalia Eliminated Force, no one really cares. You know, it ended up being a fucking brawl at the end, you know. It's like a stupid little brawl, like a silly little segment. But it built towards a Survivor Series match being built out of it. 7-on-7 Divas match. We got Team Total Divas, the Bellas, Natalia, Eva Marie, JoJo, and the Funkadactyls. Team Total Divas taking on Alicia Fox, Divas Champion AJ, Oksana Samurai, Rosa Mendez, Tamina, and Caitlyn. Caitlyn turned heel. When did that happen? When did Caitlyn turn heel? Maybe she turned heel on SmackDown. I don't watch SmackDown. So there you go. That's the first of the 2 Survivor Series matches which would be made for tonight. Finally, some traditional matches. Now, I'll announce the second one later. But first, the action, following a little silly little, stupid little musical chairs segment, which all it did was kind of tease and build up for the Survivor Series match with the Divas. We have the Battle of the Bohemians. We have Big Show in his first real match back since being rehired, not carrying that little handicap match with Randy Orton and the Shield 2 weeks ago when Randy Orton powerbombed Big Show to the table. Big Show took on Goldberg. Why back? What else? The match was just okay. Big Show can't really talk of the match anymore, but I think Big Show, I hate to say this, Big Show carried the match. Only Ryback. Ryback did very well despite the big weight advantage and, of course, the height advantage, too. Big Show's taller than Ryback, and Ryback really got pummeled by Big Show. Big Show really took the weight and height advantage to his advantage and really pummeled the hell out of Ryback, but Ryback came back strong with some hits of his own despite he did a spine buster and even he did try the knee hook, but then Big Show was too tough for Ryback. But then Ryback did get to get the shell shock on Big Show. Hey, Ryback shell shocked Mark Henry earlier this year. Why couldn't he shell shock Big Show, which he did? But Big Show kicked out of that, and I called this next spot. I got the ending right on the fucking money. I predicted that when Ryback was going to connect, or at least try to connect Big Show with the second shell shock, Big Show would counter it, then bang, knockout, blow, 1, 2, 3, right on the ending. Big Show got the KO punch, countering the second attempt of Ryback's shell shock. Like as Ryback walked straight into the KO after Big Show countered it. I knew that was going to happen. Like I said, Big Show was going to counter the shell shock and then turn it into a KO. And that's what happened. And then Randy Orton was trying to go for a sneak attack on Big Show following the matchup. But that plan, like the Lions' fake field goal tackle plan, failed. I had to make a Lions joke in there, but Lions failing with that failed field goal fake attack in the game against the Steelers yesterday. And Orton tried to go for that sneak attack, but that failed. Because Big Show speared the hell out on preventing that attack from happening. Orton was very upset because, once again, thwarted by the Big Show. Orton was trying to make a statement to the Big Show, but Big Show had the last laugh, spearing the hell out of Orton before Orton had a chance to attack Big Show. Big Show saw that attack coming a mile away. And Orton wanted a lot of help. He wanted the Shield to have his back, and nobody had his back. I think Triple H and Stephanie are looking for a new face. I think they're losing the faith in Randy. More proof they're losing the faith in Randy. No interference at the pay-per-view. Randy's been winning on interference with Triple H at SummerSlam, with the interference of Shawn Michaels and Hell in a Cell, and now Randy Orton has to win the match against Big Show all by himself. He has to win all by himself. So Orton's going to be all alone against the Big Show Sunday. No help at all. Good luck, Randy. Now on with our next matchup. Of course, we had 2 Survivor Series matches made. The Divas match. And if you watch my Attack Sports on Thursday, following the result of Punk and Bryan teaming up against the Wyatts at Survivor Series in no 12-man tag, which was the main event tonight, so now we know why there was no 12-man tag at Survivor Series, I made a prediction for a possible Survivor Series match. The Usos teaming up with Cody Rhodes and Goldust against the Weird Americans and Rollins and Reigns of the Shield. Well, I was 99% right. I was right on that match, but I thought it was going to be 4-on-4, not 5-on-5. It'd be all 3 members of the Shield, Ambrose, Rollins, and Reigns, teaming up with the Weird Americans against Usos, Goldust, and Cody, and a mystery partner who would return this evening, if you see the title. Anyway, we got the next matchup involving those Weird Americans, Jack Swagger and Mr. Cesaro, teaming up against The Miz and Kofi Kingston. Now, for anybody like me who's been reading results from several house shows on WWE's European tour, which took its toll on a lot of people, Cena, Punk, and AJ fading, people like me reading the reports of the house shows that Miz has been playing a heel. So we kind of had a suspicion that Miz, in some way, shape, or form, was going to turn heel this evening. Well, that's exactly what happened. Kofi Kingston was mostly the one that got pummeled on for most of the matchup. Miz started the matchup, trying to get the advantage for his team. And Michael Cole said it, teasing the possible heel turn, saying that Miz and Kofi wanted to compete separately tonight. They didn't want to be as a team. So that kind of made the factor in the back of your mind about at least planting the seed for the possible heel turn, which many hardcore fans like me kind of knew was going to happen. So Kofi kicks the guy in there after Miz tagged himself. After Miz got the little advantage, he got pummeled. Like I said, Kofi got the hot tag coming in with some big DDT moves. He got I think it was a great counter out of Swagger's move. I think he did like a great counter, like an SOS type move. And then, Trouble in Paradise attempt on Dragon failed. He got at least he got a kick on Cesaro. And after that, Kofi was trying to get the tag to Miz. And Miz was like teasing him for the tag. And then as Miz was maybe winching him for the tag, boom! Too slow. Miz walked down on Kofi, leaving him prone to Jack Swagger and the Patriot Lock. And a tap out for Mr. Kofi. So Miz is once again heel. Following the Patriot Lock and Miz walking out on Kofi and not tagging in when Kofi wanted the tag. So I smell, and Kofi and Miz has feuded before, a few years back, so I think they're going to feud again. Now Miz is a heel again, so. And I kind of like Miz as a face, but I think Miz is a great heel. So seeing Miz as a heel again is very good. Seeing him as a heel again is awesome. Now, on the next matchup, we saw one general manager get his ass whipped. We'll see if the other manager will get her ass whipped as well. Vicky Guerrero taking on AJ. Now, these two had a rivalry when Vicky replaced AJ as the general manager of Raw last year. And I don't think AJ had a fair shake on getting her hands on Vicky. I think the same for this match, too. Like the musical chairs match, stupid segment. It was more like a segment, not like a match. Vicky was trying any way to get out of this match. Fainting, and Stephanie McMahon, she knew Vicky's plan. She was like, she wasn't falling for Vicky's plan on her fainting. So Stephanie's like, yeah, she was like, Vicky was on a stretcher, and they really stretched her out to the match with Vicky all frustrated that her plan to get out of this match backfired on her big time. And it's kind of a silly match, like Vicky. It wasn't much wrestling. It was more like a fucking segment. Vicky just tried to make Eddie faint again, tried to go for water. And AJ basically shook her hand, put her in the Black Widow, tap out, short, stupid little match. It was stupid. It was pointless and useless. And dumb. Vicky Guerrero walked down her own will. Not like Mr. Maddox getting his ass whipped. Now we have our next match. Triple H wanted to be entertaining, and I think it was entertaining. Of course, Nashville is known for all the bars on Broadway Street. Now, I've been in Nashville for the CMAs, and I was there recently when I was in Tennessee for the Eagles show in Memphis, the week before Raw in Memphis, ironically. And Broadway Street is a street where the arena is and where the ball scene is. So there's two Broadways, the Broadway in New York and the Broadway in Nashville with all the bars. And I've been ball hopping on Broadway. It's a great scene there. So I decided to honor Broadway by having a Broadway brawl. The two former Money in the Bank winners. The one who successfully cashed in for the title, Dolph Ziggler. And the one who failed, Damian Sandow. And this match was very fun. It was just fun. I liked the whole band setup, The commentary helped out too, kind of. The old country band references. We saw a lot of country clips throughout the show, Wall Country, you saw clips of There's Walker, Keep Urban, seeing videos of them, so, even the videos, so that's weird. And the match was kind of fun, I think I like the use of the weapons in the matchup, especially use a guitar, especially the acoustic guitar with, in the end, when Dolph Ziggler trying to do that Jeff Jarrett strut. Of course, Jeff Jarrett was known for hitting people with the guitar. And it was a fun match. I loved it. Like, almost every instrument got whammed. They used the cello and the fiddle. And it was a fun matchup. It was kind of a fun matchup. It was very back and forth matchup. Sandow had control in. I don't think he did the elbow to Stain. But of course, Ziggy did all of his big moves. A zigzag attempt failed, but I know he did the famous Sarah. And I love the spots with the weapons. They did use a chair, the other weapon besides all the instruments. They used the keyboard, which Michael Cole called an organ, dumbass. um, my favorite instrument spot was the drums. I'm a drum guy as well. Before I was DJing, I was a drummer, or at least a semi-professional drummer. Or at least I'm good at drumming on Guitar Hero. Anyway, I was like waiting for the drums to be used, and then Jerry Lawler was waiting for the drums to be used as well because I knew it would be funny. And I like the spots with the guitars, really big hits with the guitars, the electric guitars, and they took all the strings out, which I think was good because if the strings were on it, it would have choked them. So I think they made the safety precaution by taking the strings off the guitars and the bass and the cello, the fiddle, or as Michael Cole called it, a ukulele, dumbass. He made two mistakes. He called a keyboard an organ and a ukulele a fiddle. Fiddle a ukulele. Come on. Anyway, the ending came when Sandow got rammed against the ring post as Sandow was going to hit Ziggler again with another guitar. And that's when Dolph made him one head first into the post. That's when Dolph had the snare drum, banged it against Sandow's head. And then nailed the bass drum against his head too. Yep, that was all, folks. 1-2-3 victory for Damien Sandow losing to Dolph Ziggler. Get that joke? Pokey Pig used to walk out of drums and say, yep, that's all, folks. So good win for Ziggler. Nice to see him back in the winning circle again. Too bad he didn't win the IC Championship like Big E did tonight. But hey, nice to see Ziggler get a win tonight against Mr. Sandow. Speaking of men I would like to see pushed again, Zack Ryder was backstage with Florida Georgia Line tonight. I'm glad that Zack got rid of that goatee. Zack Ryder was on that WWE shop commercial last week and he had that nasty, ugly goatee. I'm glad he shaved it off. And another man that Florida Georgia Line was hanging out with was John Cena, who was walking out tonight with a brace on his arm. Of course, as a storyline aftermath for what happened to him last week on Raw with the cross-arm breaker applied by Mr. Del Rio with the chair connected to Cena's injured arm. And Cena was like, I don't care. Like, people's been saying that I should never come back. I came back too early, blah, 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 blah. And I thought they were going to basically let Cena wear this brace as a storyline excuse to keep Cena out of the ring until Survivor Series. So he wanted to get more hurt than he is. Because WWE knows he's hurt. But hey, WWE's WWE. And I love the fact that the word superhero was mentioned. Super Cena! Anyway, as Cena was saying that, I don't care what happens, I am Super Cena, and I'm going to beat Del Rio because the champ is here. And that's when Del Rio came out and said, Cena, I don't like the Survivor Series. I want to beat you now. I want to make your arm more weakened. I want to take the opportunity of this advantage. You're wearing a brace. Because the old saying goes, a one-armed man can't win in an ass-kicking contest or a wrestling contest or whatever. Whatever reference you can make that I tried to attempt, but I failed. Epically, like the Lions. I have to make Lions jokes tonight. I have to make Lions jokes. Anyway, and Del Rio was like, I'm going to take an advantage. I'm going to weaken you, Cena. And Cena was like, no. I'm in a brace. But Cena was like, I am going to take advantage of an opportunity. He took off the brace. He suckered in Del Rio. Nailed him with some cheap punches. Had him set up for the FU. Before Del Rio could be landed, he kind of landed over the top rope instead of being slammed with the FU. So he avoided the further slam from the FU. So there you go. Del Rio avoided the impact of the FU. But of course, Cena proving that injured, shoulder or not, he is ready to go Sunday. Ready to prove in front of his hometown of Boston that the champ would be still here. So there you go. Now, on to the next matchup, a tag team match involving the Jump Squad. The Union Jacks. The Rhinestone Cowboys. 3MB. First, I got applause for their opponents not being Los Mandos again this week. Yay! They instead took on R-Truth and Consequences Creed. Xavier Woods, of course, the man formerly known as Consequences Creed. I always say that 3MB's been changing the names a lot. The Job Squad, 3MB. Last week they were Union Jacks. And now this week they're the fucking Rhinestone Cowboys. You know what I mean? They have more name changes than Diddy. But Bob Daddy, Sean Combs, Danny, P. Danny. What's it going to be next? So anyway, so we have Consequences Queen, another guy who changed his name, well, because of lawsuit, lawsuit for stealing the name from TNA. So Xavier will debut with all Troop tonight. And I think they're going to gel as partners. Not just because they're both black, but because I think they got the unique same style and very colorful personalities. And Xavier Woods proved his colorful personality that won him over in TNA. He's going to win him over in WWE. Truth mostly did all the work for the majority of the matchup, even with Xavier taking care of Heath Slater from interfering. But after Truth got his big moves in, doing the what's-ups and getting a big move, taking care of Slater, and setting up Woods to come in, following a big move on Jinder, to set up his big moves, the Underworld move, that was a decent move, saying, like Punk always says, it's Cloudwind time. Xavier says, did he say it's Muffin time? But he did his finisher, the Best in the Woods, and 1-2-3 victory for Xavier Woods and All Truth. And Xavier's going to do well. The reaction of the crowd did well. You know, his personality is going to wing true like he did in TNA. But the last time a TNA guy came to WWE through NXT was low-key. Of course, his name was Kaval. You know what happened to him. Featured Endeavored. So I hope that Mr. Xavier doesn't get featured Endeavored just because he was a TNA guy. I hope Xavier has a lengthy one in TNA. More lengthier than low-key, or even lengthier than Chris Harris. Where was his name again in WWE? Branson something? It was some weird-ass name. It was a bad name, too. So there you go. All Truth and his new partner getting the win. Good debut for Xavier Woods. Now, before we get to our main event, we got, of course, the performance from Florida Georgia Line. Performing a hit song, Why Hit Round Here. Should have done Cruise, but I said it's my attack line. That's my attack sports today. Down about this jockey, I like music, but music and wrestling usually don't mix. Kid Rock's performance at WrestleMania, CeeLo Green at SummerSlam 2011. The performances don't mix, but I think this one kind of mixed. You know, the mix of the audio, because, you know, me as a disc jockey, it was too echoey, the mix. But still, it was a decent performance from Florida Georgia Line. Great to see him on wall. Very weird to see him on wall, but it was cool. And also, the drummer was wearing a CM Punk shirt. That was cool, too. Speaking of Punk, that leads to our main event. CM Punk, the 12-man tag that I thought was going to be at Survivor Series, but instead, it's here, on wall. CM Punk teaming up with Daniel Bryan, the Usos, and Cody Rhodes and Goldust, taking on the Shield and the Wyatts. Story of the match. The beginning of the match, story of the beginning, was Wyatt and Shield not getting along. Of course, they almost got into a fight last week until uniting. That's what happened again this week. They got into a fight. You know, they were arguing, not on the same page. Basically, the Shield was tagging each other in as Usos and Cody Rhodes and Goldust were doing most of the early work for their six-man team, really taking it to the Shield, isolating Shield and their corner through the isolation as Shield and Wyatt were not getting along at all. But of course, the voice of reason, possibly being Bray, like he did last week, being the voice of reason, saying that they have a common enemy. And of course, and the later half of the matchup, Wyatt and the Shield got their heads straight, got their act together. Instead of being on two different pages, reading out of two different books, they were indeed reading from the same book. And really isolating Usos and Cody Rhodes and Goldust, and of course, isolating everybody until, of course, Daniel Bryan got the hot tag in and really got his team back a rolling in the game. So there you go with that. But of course, D-Bryan got isolated in his corner as well. My favorite spot when it comes to the Wyatts and Shield working together, my favorite spot was when, as D-Bryan was being isolated and trying to get an opportunity to get a tag in, the remaining members of his team, you know, Usos, Cody Rhodes and Goldust, and CM Punk got tackled by all 6 members of the Wyatts and the Shield being taken out before D-Bryan got the tag, and I like that spot. That was a great spot. But then, despite being isolated, Punk got the tag in finally from D-Bryan. Punk and Bryan got some big pops, and I think those two got big pops tonight. Usos got some decent pops too. Cody Rhodes and Goldust as well, but the biggest pops, did belong to D-Boy and CM Punk. I saw a guy with a paid to see CM Punk. I paid my lunch to see Daniel Bryan. I like the beard and the best. I like the team name. So there you go. Punk got the hot tag for D-Boy. He really took it to the team of Wyatt and Shield, coming in with the big knees on Ambrose and the elbow as well. He was ready to set up the GTS on Mr. Ambrose until Bray Wyatt broke that from happening. That's when the Spot Fest finale kicked off, with Cody Rhodes coming with a big disaster kick attempt on Rollins following the Crossroads, the Wild Reigns, following Reigns spearing the hell out of Goldust after Goldust broke a count. After Ambrose got a big move on Punk, it was a Spot Fest Palooza. Usos double kicking everybody, flying. D-Boy was flying. It was all chaos in the end, which ended with D-Man Punk putting the GTS on Ambrose in a 1-2-3 victory for Punk and his team. But as Punk and Bryan were celebrating that chaotic match, decent match, and a decent victory, here comes We Americans. Of course, the partners of the Shield for the match this Sunday and that 5-on-5 matchup. Of course, the Shield and We Americans will take on the Usos and Cody Rhodes and Goldust in their fifth mystery partner. I had a guess on who I thought the fifth guy was going to be. I had a suspicion it was going to be one of two men. One, Biggie Langston, or two, the man that returned tonight, Rey Mysterio. Music started blaring as Punk and Bryan was getting pummeled by the Shield and Wyatt and We Americans. And Mysterio finally came back. We hear rumors about Mysterio coming back for weeks. He was coming back last week, and I had this sneaky feeling it was going to be the 5th man at Survivor Series. I didn't think he was going to return before, but he did return tonight, coming in with a big vengeance, with the big moves, landing a double 619 on Harper and Swagger, which ended that segment. Punk taking out Harper with the GTS, and we end Raw with the Usos, Cody Rhodes and Goldust, Punk and Bryan, and the returning Rey Mysterio celebrating with yeses all around. It's been too long. Been way too long since Rey Mysterio's been gone, man. You know, he's as injury prone as Sin Cara. Man, Sin Cara's been out longer with a broken thumb than Clay Matthews. Anyway, another football joke, people. So it's nice to see Mysterio back. So I am guessing that it's not official yet, but I bet you will be official by the end of the week. That Mysterio will be teaming up with the Usos and Cody Rhodes and Goldust against the Shield and Real Americans in the traditional Survivor Series match Sunday at Survivor Series, along with the other traditional Survivor Series match with the Divas, Team Total Divas, of course the Bellas, Funkadactyls, Eva Marie JoJo, and Eva Marie taking on Team Non-Total Divas, Alicia Fox, AJ, Tamina, Oksana, Summer Rae, Rosa, and Caitlyn. The two title matches, Big Show against Orton for the WWE title. Orton's got to go all by himself. No help at all. Cena against Del Rio, pre-show. Panel, Booker T, Bret Hart, and Mick Foley. We have no one on what is the pre-show match yet. We will find that out by the end of the week. But that is it for my Raw review this evening. Thank you all very much for watching. With that in mind, you've all been intact. Find the review from Zach. Thank you again. Have a great rest of your Monday night and rest of your week, everybody. See ya. Yes, yes, yes. Booyaka, booyaka.